What's up everyone? I'm back. It's been a long time. So I'm back with another breakdown of a track of ours. No Time, our second single. It came out 2 months ago, so I'm really late, but I'm doing it now. Without further ado, let's dive into it. So the track starts off with the verse. The most important thing in the verse is the vocal, and it's a layer of 3 vocals. The main vocal, it's pitched up 7 semitones to match the key of the track, and it's layered with a lower vocal minus 7 semitones. And together they sound like this. We also added a vocoded vocal. It's vocoded by a synth, which sounds like this. But it's muted in the mix because it's too harsh sounding. Well, the synth only exists to be used for the vocoder, and the vocoded vocal sounds like this. And to vocode a vocal like this, you just get a vocoder and then choose external and then audio from the source you want the vocal to vocode with. And all together they sound like this. And we also added these little ad-lib thingies with a delay on it that's 100% wet. So that's the vocal. The main thing besides the vocal is the synth. It's a layer of 2 sounds, a guitar, and beneath is an arpeggiator, just to fill out the spectrum and to make it sound full. Pretty simple saw bass. Then there are the drums. They are very cinematic, orchestral sounding and slow. We thought it would fit the vibe of the verse, and then after 16 bars it goes into the build-up. When the build-up first starts playing, it comes out of nowhere and is introducing the main bass from the drop. The main bass of the drop is, I think it's a preset of a Jaws related preset pack for Serum, and we browsed through the presets and then found one that sounds good, and we used it. So using presets can be good. In comparison to our first track that we released, Some Death, I also made a making of. The big difference, the effects are much louder in this one, and you can hear that very clearly. It's just a lot of impacts, a lot of risers, a lot of downlifters, uplifters, transition effects, just a lot of them. In the build-up, the synths aren't doing as much as in the verses. We removed the guitar in the build-up and just left the arpeggiator in it. It's filtering in, but it stays in the same chord the whole time. It's not even pitching up, so it does pretty much nothing. And we also added a sound we like to add to a lot of our tracks because it just sounds good, but it's very slight in the background and it sounds like this. We like to call it the submarine. So to the last part of the it isn't doing anything special, I think, just looping right here, then pitching down, wait, here. And we just looped the word time, and then pitching it down with the transposition mode in envelopes. The pre-dub is pretty simple, standard house-ish with the cowbell. And at the end, instead of a fourth cowbell, we did a tom fill. Pitching down also. And then it goes straight into the drop. So let's start with the most basic thing in the drop, the drums. Four on the four, groove, kick, just doing nothing. A ride beneath it. Then on every second kick, a clap. Between every kick, a hi-hat. And I started doing this thing with my claps, like a pre-clap. If it's like a clap that's having a long attack, like this one, you can put it slightly before the other clap, well, the second clap that's really short and attacky. Then it sounds like this. The main thing in the drop is probably the bass and the brass shots. Like I explained before in the build-up, it's just a preset of a JAWS-related preset pack for Serum, and the only thing we did is like doing some LFO automations for the movement. To give it some groove. The most important thing after the bass are the brass shots. And they follow the notes of the bass, yeah. And together they sound like this. They are also very loud in the mix, but I think it sounds good. And then I added the sub. This is the only section of the song I added an extra sub because I think it needed it to be more powerful and more subby. And with my subs, if I do an extra sub, I like to take a sine wave, distort it, then cut the highs. It sounds more aggressive. And every now and then there is this vocal shot, like every time the bass goes up in pitch, we added this vocal line. And at the end of the first half of the drop, again tom fills and this weird eliminate sounding bass patch. I have no idea how we made this. It seems like it's just modulating the wavetable position and the FM from B, and there's also a very fast delay on it. It sounds more robotic and metallic. Now, the most important sound in the whole track is coming in the second half of the drop. So it sounds like this. It sounds pretty weird on its own, but in the mix it sounds pretty cool. But now, the funny thing is, what the source of this sound is, well, or what we use to make this sound. If I disable every single effect, it sounds like this. Enjoy this wonderful sound. If you haven't guessed it already, it's a fart, but it sounded so cool with all the post-processing on it that we decided to use it, and I think it fits very well into the track. It's like a weird extra to the whole drop or even the whole track. So and then it goes back into the second break or verse, but it's more like a breakdown. It's basically the same as verse 1, but also not the same. The vocal is filtered, we cut the vocal a bit up, it's all over the place and looped, and the orchestral drums are the same, and then the ARP is there, the guitar is not in there, the submarine is in there, and we added this extra little plug. We didn't want the focus to be on the vocal again, so that's the reason why it is filtered and why we added this extra little plug, that the focus is more on the melodic side, not on the vocal side, and to give it a small switch up. And we also put the main bass into the break. Well, it's a layer of 2, and they are not playing the same notes. They are like playing chords. And then it builds up into the fake build-up where the claps come in. Everything's pretty much the same, just looping into the real build-up, and we added an extra synth. Then it goes into the real build-up, and it's pretty much the same as the first build-up, just minus the vocal and plus the fart. The pre-drop, it's exactly the same as in the first drop. And then we go straight into the second drop, and there's a slight change up. We did like a fake out where the drums are missing and the main bass is doing a different pattern. And in this first half, it's only kick and ride. At the end of the first half, eliminate sounding, patch and tom fill into the second half. In the second half of the second drop, we bring in all the drums. And then it sounds more like the first drop, but again with another bass pattern or LFO automation. And then at the end of the second half, we remove basically everything to lead into the outro. The outro is basically just all the drums, the extra sub and some parts of the vocal. We cut it up. The ending is just tom fill, kick and impact. So yeah, that's it for No Time, our second single we released. In the meantime, we even released another one called Whoop Whoop. Check it out, link is in the description. Link to No Time is also in the description, and to our social media accounts and to my sudden death making of. If you like content or just this video, leave a like, leave a sub. If you want to give me feedback, do it. I appreciate every feedback I get. But that's it for now. Have a great day.